Humans are social creatures, wired for connection, safety, and bonding. And yet, many push away the very people who offer genuine care. They distance themselves from safe relationships, sabotage emotional closeness, build walls where bridges were offered. From an outsider's view, this seems paradoxical. Why avoid comfort? Why retreat from support? But the human mind does not act based on logic alone. It acts on memory, fear, and patterns of protection. This video explores the real reason people reject those who care. Not because they don't want love, but because they were taught that love comes with a cost. Attachment wounds and emotional blueprints. Every human develops an internal blueprint of relationships based on early experiences. This is known as attachment theory. If a child grew up in a home where affection was inconsistent, conditional, or absent, they learned that closeness is unsafe. That vulnerability leads to pain. That love is something to be earned, feared, or avoided. These early patterns become hard-coded into the nervous system. So when someone shows care in adulthood, it clashes with the old programming. They withdraw, not out of rejection, but out of protection. To the subconscious, rejecting love is safer than risking betrayal. 2. Fear of being truly seen. Being cared for requires being seen, and being seen requires vulnerability. But vulnerability means exposure, and exposure is dangerous to someone who has been judged, abandoned, or emotionally neglected. To be truly cared for means to let someone into the places that were never validated, the wounds, the fears, the insecurities. So instead, people keep their distance. They create friction. They find flaws in the person offering care. Because to be seen feels like losing control. And if someone sees too deeply, they might leave. So better to leave first. Better to push them away, before the connection becomes too real. 3. Self-worth and the imposter illusion. Humans with low self-worth often feel like imposters in kind relationships. They ask, why would anyone care about me? What do they see that I don't? This creates a gap between how they view themselves and how they are treated. And that gap becomes uncomfortable. So rather than receive the love, they push it away. They assume there must be a hidden motive, or that the person will eventually see the truth. This behavior is not arrogance. It is fear disguised as logic, a defense against being disappointed. Because if they allow themselves to believe in the care and it goes away, it will confirm the fear they always had. I was never lovable to begin with. 4. The comfort of emotional distance. For some, emotional distance is more comfortable than intimacy. Not because they don't want closeness, but because closeness makes them feel exposed and unstable. People become skilled at avoiding connection. They joke instead of being serious. They disappear when things get real. They focus on flaws to justify their withdrawal. These are coping strategies, unconscious patterns designed to keep emotions at arm's length. They grew up in environments where emotional distance was the norm, where affection was rare or manipulative. So they learned, don't get too close, don't rely on anyone, it's safer to be alone. And when someone does get close, it triggers alarm bells, not because it's bad, but because it's unfamiliar. 5. The fear of losing control. Care creates emotional debt. It implies connection, responsibility, and openness. For someone who's used to self-reliance and emotional isolation, this feels like losing control. Letting someone in means you can be disappointed, you can be hurt, you can be changed. So pushing them away becomes a way to maintain autonomy, to stay in control of one's emotional environment. But in doing so, they also maintain their loneliness, because they are not actually protecting their peace. They are protecting their pain. 6. Testing the love to prove it's real. Some people don't push others away to reject them. They push them away to test them, to see if they'll stay, to see if the care is real. to see if they're willing to fight for connection. This comes from trauma, from being abandoned, from promises that were broken. So they create obstacles. They become difficult. They withdraw emotionally. And when the person walks away, it confirms the fear. See? I knew they'd leave. They all do. But it was never a fair test. It was self-sabotage disguised as defense. To conclude, pushing away isn't rejection. It's protection. Humans don't always reject love because they don't want it. They reject it because they were taught to fear it. Because love has hurt before. Because trust has been used as a weapon. Because care has come with strings attached. So they push away the safe people and chase the ones who keep them distant. Because distance feels familiar. But healing begins with awareness, not with forcing closeness, but with asking deeper questions. Why does care make me uncomfortable? What am I protecting by pushing this away? Who taught me that love was dangerous? Pushing away is a symptom, not of coldness, but of unhealed closeness wounds. And once you begin to name them, you can begin to change them. Because maybe the person who truly sees you was never the threat. The real threat was never feeling seen at all.